Today I'm going to be comparing Pocahontas as well as Pocahontas 2 Journey to the New World to Daddy's Home as well as Daddy's Home 2. I've only seen the first Daddy's Home movie. I watched it for the first time sometime within the last few years, I'm pretty sure, but I can't remember exactly when it is I watched it. I've now seen both Pocahontas and Pocahontas 2. I actually just watched Pocahontas 2 yesterday for the first time. Pocahontas is a movie that I have nostalgia for because back when I was in school, when I was attending Byron Burgeon Central Schools out in Burgeon, New York, that was a small town. I was in choir for several years. It was led by this guy, Lawrence Tallman. It was certainly quirky, somewhat eccentric, but undeniably a very skilled choir director. We actually watched the movie Pocahontas and sang in one of our concerts the song Colors of the Wind, which I think is a really good song. I think that Pocahontas is a movie that has good things about it, but it's not one of Disney's better films, I would say. When it comes to the highest score for each franchise, in the case of Pocahontas, highest score is only a 53% for the original movie. With Daddy's Home, the first one has the highest score of only 30%. Pocahontas wins here. Then when you look at lowest score, Daddy's Home 2 only has a 21%. Pocahontas 2 only has a 29%. Pocahontas wins here. Then when you look at average score, Pocahontas is an average of 41. Daddy's Home is an average of 25. Pocahontas wins here. Then when you look at gap between lowest and highest score, with Pocahontas it's 24, with Daddy's Home it's only 9. So Daddy's Home wins this round, but because Pocahontas already won 3 rounds, it's going to win this debate regardless of my personal opinion. But let's look at it now. In the case of Pocahontas, I think there's animation in this movie that's good. There are performances that are well done. I think the actress that played both John Smith as well as Pocahontas do a good job. I think there are songs that are memorable in here, like Savages, If I Never Knew You, Colors of the Wind, Virginia Company, Just Around the River Bend. And I think that there are also a few key problems with this movie. For one, I think the portrayal of the Native Americans isn't really that good. If this movie came out today, I have no doubt people in Hollywood would be like, ooh, let's update that portrayal of the Native Americans. If we keep things the same, we're going to get canceled. We don't want that. Like how I think if you release that original Peter Pan movie today, Hollywood would be like, oh, yeah, let's update that portrayal of the Native Americans. We don't want people on Twitter calling us racist. And also, as people have discussed before, Pocahontas has a story that is derivative, that is familiar. It's following the same story structure and character archetypes that you see in Ferngully, The Last Rainforest, Avatar, Man Called Horse, The Last Samurai, Dances with Wolves, where you have a main character that's part of a more technologically advanced group, usually a soldier in a civil war. Or in the case of Pocahontas, it's not necessarily a soldier from a civil war, but it's a European coming to the Americas who at first thinks that the Native Americans are just savages. But then with these stories, you have the moment where our main technologically advanced guy joins the native tribe and thus discovers the beauty of their ways, falls in love with their culture. Now, in the case of Pocahontas, you don't have John Smith leading the Indians into battle like you see with Avatar, where Jake Sully ends up leading the natives of Pandora in battle against the humans, but it's still following that same template. Now, in the case of Daddy's Home, I like the premise here. I think it's pretty entertaining. You have this lady who was married to this guy played by Mark Wahlberg, but the two of them got divorced, and this new guy comes into the picture played by Will Ferrell. He's coming in as the stepfather. He's trying to bond with his wife's kids. He wants them to like him, but then the biological father comes back into the picture, so there's tension between the two, with them competing to try to earn the kids' affections, trying to bond with the kids. But then you get to the end of the movie and they finally decide to put aside their grievances of each other, and they're actually on better terms. now where the biological father actually is fine with this new guy being in the picture. But then you have a tease at the end of the movie for a sequel. I think that 30% is just too low for Daddy's Home. I mean, I like this movie. I think it's an engaging story. I like the performances. Here, I think it's pretty funny with the antics that Mark Wahlberg's character gets into to try to impress the kids along with his ex wife. And Will Ferrell's playing this just nice, kind guy who's trying to fit in with this family that he's now a part of. When it comes to which franchise I prefer, honestly, as much as Pocahontas is a nostalgic movie for me, I think I would personally choose Daddy's Home, honestly, just because it's a bit more of a creative premise. I haven't necessarily seen something exactly like that before. I mean, sure, this is just a bit similar to Mrs. Doubtfire because in that case you have two people that are married but then get divorced and then a new guy comes into the picture. The biological father doesn't like him, but Mrs. Doubtfire things don't play out exactly the same way. There are certainly differences there. I would personally choose Daddy's Home, but Pocahontas has won this debate, though. That'll be it for this video.